Lungsworm hat. This is a video on HGH, human growth hormone, and how they harvest it from the human brain, from cadavers. So you really shouldn't get an autopsy for any reason. I mean, once somebody's dead, they're dead. What does it matter? You shouldn't be desecrating a human body just because it's dead. And another important thing is they're using the body for this tranny agenda, for this transgender agenda, to get their hormones, to get HGH, human growth hormone. They harvest it from the human brain. And yes, these days there are synthetic versions, but you know that there's always going to be a market for the real thing. There's always going to be people out there that don't want the synthetic, they want the real thing. So they definitely are still harvesting human growth hormone from cadavers. And look over here. Here's an example of human growth hormone. These proportions, these alien-like proportions, it's just, and you can see the uncomfortable look. It looks uncomfortable in her, it's an FTM, her own body. They pump these FTM translets full of whatever they can get their hands on. They'll eat all sorts of crazy diets to try to boost their T naturally. They'll take all sorts of supplements to try to boost their T. And of course, they'll get the highest prescription that they can from their doctor. The ones that are this high up in the cabal, I mean, you can see that this thing is a freak experiment. It's like the NBA players also, they just abuse hormones their whole life. And of course, not just famous people. I know people in the town where I grew up where their younger brother, of course, Free Martin FTM, their younger brother was so, you know, when a boy just acts where you're like, oh, that boy is gay. At least that's what we used to think. And it wasn't like the dad didn't care. Most times these families, the FTM dad really hates it when their FTM son acts homo because the whole point is they have to pass. So they usually get really mad, but this dad didn't seem to care. It's like he knew that it would work out in the end. And what do you know, when this FTM hit puberty age, it's like this meme. This one was even girlier than this, and I say turned out even better than this one. Sometimes these FTM, they take the hormone, and this is where they think of themselves as alchemists and magicians drinking their potions. Some of them take the hormones just really well. I mean, now, when you have the eyes to see, you see this for what it is, a disgusting FTM. This isn't attractive. But people think that this is attractive because this is what they're sold. Look at the sickness in the eyes. Tea abuse. Totally. Total tea abuse. These are probably fake eyebrows. No joke. They're gross. Fake people. Ponies. Puberty, you're doing it right. Yeah, right. They don't go through puberty. They just get injected with hormones. This is a buck-toothed female, and it makes a okay, wonky-eyed dude until you have the eyes to see. So yeah, moral of the story is there's people all around you that abuse these hormones that come from human bodies. They're that's the zombies eating brains. That's probably where that comes from. Vampires, stories about vampires, it's connected to these people. They really they really do like drink baby blood and inject it into themselves, I'm sure. Not all of them, but some of them do. And they're coming in the open. They admit it now these days that they do that stuff. They're opening a clinic in LA, I think, for young blood. Here, it's worth just showing you to show that I'm not making stuff up. New chain of clinics will fill your veins with blood of youths. Oh, before I get into the autopsy part, just look at this. 33 Harry Potter jokes even muggles will appreciate. 33. Organs, especially the brain, are sometimes placed in formalin for days or even weeks before the dissection is conducted. Formalin preserves organs while also granting them greater firmness, allowing for neater and more accurate dissections. Yeah, they want to be, because we'll see a picture later of where this gland is, and yeah, they want to be very, very neat in collecting it. They don't want to ruin it. In particular, brain tissue benefits from fixation of formalin because its natural texture resembles soft gelatin or firm tofu. I think it's disturbing here that they're using food references. Tofu? According to Uthman, a few weeks in, the fixative lend the brain the consistency and firmness of a ripe avocado. Once removed, the lungs may also be inflated with fixative. And so I don't know, this Ottoman person seems really familiar with the consistency and is referring to food when describing it. I would just never do that. That's disgusting. Some of them probably eat I mean, going back to this, how they're talking about tofu and avocado here. No joke, some of them probably eat the gland as a part of a satanic ritual. This reminds me a lot of the food celebrities, tranny food celebrities, they like to do this ritual where they eat a still beating snake heart. They really do like to do these satanic rituals. I'm sure that some of them do eat the brain. Bodies that have undergone autopsy are still able to have open casket funerals, even in the case of brain autopsy. And this is how they push it on families. They'll push it on you by saying, "Don't worry, you can still have your, still do this. You'll still look okay for an open casket." I don't know why you would do that though. Why is a brain autopsy important? Here's how they push the importance of brain autopsies. It's one of the only ways to diagnose some neurodegenerative disorders. And this is huge these days. So many people, and it could have something to do with all the heavy metals that they're spraying, right? Why it seems like Alzheimer's is just huge now. And I'm guessing that in all of those cases, they'll push a brain autopsy. And look down here, what is the cost of a brain autopsy? Because the information gained through a brain autopsy is a very valuable resource for research and family members. They'll cover the costs. Autopsies are usually free, and that should be a big red flag there. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you see all those signs, free flu shots. Yeah, that's because it's poison. Free brain autopsy. Yeah, because they're collecting the HGH from your loved one's brain, and it's pricey. How is an autopsy performed? The extent of an autopsy can vary from the examination of a single organ, such as the heart or brain, to a very extensive examination. Examination of the chest, abdomen, and brain is probably considered by most pathologists as the standard scope. So brain is standard. It's standard procedure to take the brain out. It's because that's where the most money is in these hormones that they're getting out. The entire brain is gently lifted out. The spinal cord may also be taken. I'm sure that there's stuff in the spinal cord too that they can get. They're harvesting the stuff out of your body if you get an autopsy. Them claiming that they're trying to find the cause of death, that's secondary. What they're really doing is they're just collecting everything that they can and then selling it. And honestly, in some cases, they're not selling it. It's just that it goes to the people that are highest up in this satanic tranny cabal. They are going to get it, and the lobies, they get the scraps. They have to take the synthetic stuff, and they probably have to pay bribes to get bumped up on the lists. So just some autopsy facts.